How dare they exploit a nation's pain for political theater? President Cyril Ramaphosa has just lashed out, not at foreign forces, not at internal corruption, but squarely at South Africa's opposition parties, claiming they staged what he calls a reckless Afrikaner stunt to embarrass the government and destabilize national unity. In a press conference that quickly turned fiery, Ramaphosa didn't hold back. His words: "This was not a protest. It was a political performance, staged, funded, and manipulated by the very people who claim to defend democracy." What really happened? Why is Ramaphosa this angry? And what exactly was this so-called Afrikaner stunt? Let's break it all down. The controversy erupted after a highly publicized protest, largely Afrikaner-led, took place outside Parliament earlier this week. What was billed as a demonstration about minority rights and government land expropriation threats quickly spiraled into a national media frenzy. Footage showed protesters draped in old apartheid-era symbols, chanting slogans about taking back South Africa, and holding signs that seemed to directly challenge the ANC's legitimacy. Some compared Ramaphosa to past colonial figures. Others called him a tyrant in disguise. The backlash was immediate, but what shocked the public even more was what Ramaphosa revealed next. At a closed-door ANC strategy session leaked to the media, Ramaphosa accused opposition parties, specifically the Democratic Alliance and the Freedom Front Plus, of engineering a narrative of white victimhood. They took legitimate grievances, twisted them into political weapons, and staged this Afrikaner spectacle to portray themselves as saviors. It's manipulative. It's dangerous. And it must be condemned. He further claimed that key organizers of the protest had ties to foreign lobbyists and right-wing groups in Europe and the US, groups with a long history of supporting minority separatist causes in South Africa. His chilling statement: "They don't want unity. They want chaos. And they're willing to burn this nation's fragile peace to the ground to get it." The Democratic Alliance was quick to fire back. DA leader John Steenhuisen said the president's comments were paranoid, divisive, and deeply irresponsible. "This government is terrified of accountability. Anytime citizens protest, black, white, or brown, they're labeled as threats. This wasn't a stunt. It was the voice of a people who feel ignored. If being proud of your culture is now called a stunt, then what future does this country have?" Ramaphosa is trying to distract from his own failures, load shedding, crime, corruption. And the question the nation is now asking: was this protest a grassroots cry for help, or a stage-managed political trap? Inside the ANC, divisions are growing. Some party insiders say Ramaphosa's remarks were too aggressive, risking alienation of moderate white voters ahead of a crucial election season. Others argue he had no choice. There are fears that the opposition is testing the limits of state tolerance. If the president doesn't act, they'll get bolder. But now, he risks looking authoritarian. Meanwhile, civil society leaders are urging both sides to dial it down. Archbishop Molop of the National Reconciliation Forum said, "We must protect free expression. But we must also prevent manufactured outrage from dividing our nation further." The Human Rights Commission has announced an urgent inquiry into whether hate speech was used by protest organizers or by those responding to it. This incident has reopened deep racial and cultural wounds in South Africa. Social media is flooded with hashtags like #NotMyPresident, #AfrikanerRights, and #UnityOverChaos. Some citizens sympathize with the protesters, saying white South Africans have long been marginalized in the national debate. Others say this was a thinly veiled attempt to reignite apartheid-era nationalism under the guise of protest. We're seeing the weaponization of identity. It's no longer about policy, it's about who gets to own the idea of South Africa. So, was this truly an Afrikaner stunt? Or is Ramaphosa using fear to silence opposition? Either way, this moment has become a turning point. What do you think? Was the protest genuine or staged for political gain? Was Ramaphosa right to call it out, or did he just pour fuel on the fire? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like if you care about South Africa's future. Subscribe for more uncensored political breakdowns, because in Mzansi, truth never sleeps.